Ew, Ben here, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Just doing some testing here, kind of like a little one-off thing. And this is with aerodynamics. Starting with the basic thing, and this is going to, you'll see where this one's going. And this is basic airplane design. The aircraft tend to use a lot less fuel than, say, a rocket. Now let's go to structural. Crap. Let's roll that. I wish that had a better profile, but where's the engine I'm looking for? Let's put one here and then one here. And if only this were bigger. And that's what she said. Hopefully none of you have that, but this is going to be a little bit like, say, the F4 Phantom, maybe. And the reason why I'm doing this is I see people all the time making gigantic ass planes that they reel in just really serve no purpose. Okay. Their planes are just too large to, if we're going to be honest here. So, this is kind of a mix of quite a few aircraft. And now let's go ahead and add the landing gear. Since this is a test aircraft, don't expect it to come down safely. So I'm going to grab these real quick. As far back as I can get away with. There we go. Tilt them up just a tiny bit. That just improves the aerodynamic performance. Oh, wrong way. Trying to put those back far enough to where the wheels won't. And anyway, we're just going to call this Aero Test 1. Save. And let's go to launch. There are a few things that make this a lot different from, say, the F4 Phantom. And I can make one that looks like the F4 Phantom, which is a nice aircraft. Let's go VV, shift, and then actually both of these engines need to be on the same stage. Oops. That was my fault. It's weird. Parachute didn't, deploy. TVV. Let's try that again. I'd like to be able to get into the air. Okay. Let's go here. There we go. Well, that didn't exactly work. Oh, wow. Let's revert that to launch. I mean, I got into the air, but that's weird. That was weird. KTVV. Come on. There we go. Gear. Now you see we're up in the air. Now of course more engines will of course mean you go a lot faster. But what if I told you that I could get a craft with the same amount of engines even faster than this up in the air? Now this is actually a relatively stable aircraft. It just doesn't have a very tight turning radius. And I can also land this thing. So I'm going to land it over there just to prove it. But this craft flies very well. Do you want to know how fast it goes? Well, about 230, it's going to be close to 300 kilometers per hour, not kilometers per hour, but that'd be slow for a turbojet, for a jet-powered aircraft. We're looking to maintain altitude. It's going to be about 300 meters per second, which is approaching Mach 1. And that's at about 1,300 meters. We could essentially say at sea level. if I had Ferrum Aerospace installed, it'd probably be much, much faster. And of course, I'd like a better in-cockpit view. That way, I could act for the cockpit we have set up. Now, the fastest you're going to go in terms of maneuvering capability is, and still be able to maneuver, is about 240, 250 meters per second, which is extremely quick. And about right here, I'm actually going to start slowing down the engines. I'm going to keep it under power though. And we're going to land this baby. We're going to deploy the landing gear. And kill the engine. Yeah, that was going to end badly if I didn't do that. But I can make an aircraft that goes much, much faster. And we're actually going to go ahead and recover the vessel because there's a lot of data that can be learned from that. We're just lucky things didn't blow up like they did. Now, you're saying, how can we make it faster? Well, generally the way to do it is more engines. Now we're going to throw this out. We're actually going to throw this out. And we're going to start with this. Why this? Oh yeah, and we're going to add a parachute. Because in KSP, that actually doesn't hurt anything. Add coupler. And our standard control surface stuff. You know. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to put that at the front. This means we're going to get much more fuel as well. So when we add the turbojet engines, give me a second, let me move this forward. We get this. This is a lot like all the twin engine fighters that you see in actual militaries. So we're going to go to aerodynamic here. Oh, but wait, I can't add this anywhere. Well, that's true. So instead, we're going to add 2 of those right here, just for realism's sake. And doesn't that look like a real aircraft profile from the front if you take off the wings and stuff? Yeah, it kind of does. So now we're going to use one of the largest wing that's actually available in the game, and we're actually going to put it up fairly high. Oops. Nope, not like that. Like this. Getting a little bit of keel effect and a little bit of the dihedral effect. So now we're actually going to move this up just a tiny bit. And let's check our center of lift and our center of mass. Yep. Behind and above, that's the right way to do it. What we're also going to do is add a tail plane. Just a bit lower, and again with the dihedral effect, a little bit more of one though. And sure, they intersect, but doesn't that look like a modern fighter from the top? Sure does. And of course we're going to add 2 of these. Come on now. Sure, those slant in a little bit, but 2 vertical stabilizers, that's pretty darn good, right? Yeah, it really is. Oh, those are parachutes, not wings. We already have a parachute. And now we can add this. Actually, on second thought, let's put this just like normal. Like a normal person would. Now, doing it this way, we get a nice solid platform for the both of those. This is going to be a lot faster because it's not a delta wing. And it will definitely get in the air much faster when we add control surfaces. Take these off for a second. There we go. Okay. Always remember to put your control surfaces on before adding any dihedral effects or anything like that. do want your dihedral effect to be very, very, very slight. And there we go. Now, for those of you who are wondering, what aircraft does this look like? Well, this is essentially the F-15. It really is. Except those control surfaces are definitely magnified. Now, we're going to say this is Aero Test 2. Save, and before, I just want to check to make sure. Okay, so I didn't actually save that. Oopsies. Load. We're actually going to load this. I just want to make sure. Safety first. Okay. And now check the staging. Staging's all correct. This may not go as fast as the other one, but it will definitely be more maneuverable. And actually, I think it will go as fast, if not faster, because you've got more intake. Because instead of one intake feeding 2 engines, we have 1 intake per engine. Now we check this one. And we got into the air very quickly. And yes, I probably should have added struts there. And actually, let's go ahead and do that. Something to connect it. Not only does it make it look nicer, but it also makes it way more stable. Structural. Okay, save and launch. Now we can try this again. But adding more air means the fuel can oxidize a lot faster. And faster oxidation means bigger boom, and bigger boom being directed means more thrust. And since we've got a heck of a lot more lift this time around, I'm only turning that on out of habit, so and if you wanted, you could probably take it through the tunnel over there, or one of the many tunnels. Okay, that was admittedly a bit risky. But if you'll notice, we are traveling extremely quickly. Now, all I'm going to do is hold altitude. What are those over there? Oh. Test debris. Yeah. Okay, 175 meters per second. Let's see if I can get this up to about 200. Let's go up to, say, 1,300 meters, which is where we were testing the other one. And see how fast we can get there with our essential F-15. Now there is, of course, another way to get faster. Okay, so we're hitting 200 meters per second, which is, I'm quite happy with it. May not be as fast. But look at this, it's much more maneuverable. We're making this turn a lot faster than the other one, and at a much higher speed than the other one would have been able to make a turn at this rate. Therefore, this is, in my opinion, a superior aircraft. Now, if something goes wrong, this is going to end very, very badly. When this, watch, when this hits 500, this is going to end very badly. Actually, it could have ended a lot worse. And our parachute just died. It got ripped off, which is something that doesn't happen in KSP. Bye-bye. We're going to actually revert to the hangar, because there's no... whatever. Now, there are a few other ways to make this go faster. This is, of course, a very successful aircraft. But guess what? I can make it even better. Now, how do you make an aircraft faster? We've done the add more engines and add more intakes method. But what if we decide to change it up and only go with one engine? You just say, wait, no, you can't go faster by having just one engine. Actually, we can. Now, this does have, this actually has less thrust than this one, and this, of course, eats through fuel a lot faster. But this allows me to do is I can use the smallest wings possible. There's my arrow. There it is. I'm going to use both radial intake. I'm going to use the radial intake. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm only going to use actually two is good, and they're actually going to be above the center line. going to add small wings very far back. And a small tail plane. We're not going to bother with stabilizing it or anything. This aircraft is not exactly about stability. This aircraft is about going fast. There we go. In Aero Test 3. And yes, a madman is building this. And if we check center of lift, center of mass. Actually, I should probably move these forward. Just a bit. Now, if I wanted to make it more stable, I'd add canards, but here's the problem. Any canards I add are as big as the wings themselves, so yeah. This is just stretching. This is essentially a speed test. TV. Chase. And you almost have to go down the entire runway with this thing. Because if not, you're going to wobble and roll if you're not going fast enough. And look at this. We are almost going as fast as our other two tests were on the ground, okay? This aircraft is built for speed. We're going to go up to 1,300 meters and show you exactly how fast this thing is going to go. Because this thing if I'm just holding altitude, this thing is accelerating very, very quickly. But it's also descending because it's not moving fast enough to maintain lift. And that's the thing. Once you get off the ground, you have to constantly maintain lift. And Ferrum Aerospace does fix this because these will generate lift. That's a mechanic Kerbal Space Program I think needs to fix, is that there's no lifting, and of course also there's going to be a lifting body effect. See how long it takes to get there when I'm not actually actively pushing up? Or pulling back on the stick, as it were. but now we're actually accelerating while going up, which is a good thing. Okay. Okay, now let's see how fast we can go. Okay. We're 170. No sign of slowing down either. Actually, our delta wing was faster than this. That's odd. In real life, this is the way to make things faster, is just to continually shrink the wings, make the engine more powerful, but of course, and of course this would work in Ferrum Aerospace. This would be the fastest of the 3 aircraft in Ferrum Aerospace. Now, an interesting side effect of this is once we get up to a reasonable altitude, this is the most maneuverable. But let's see exactly not only how high we can go, but how fast we can go in this. I'm actually going to cut till we get there, so see you then.